Don't you wanna stay? Have a glass of lemonade. Talking business, chilling in the shade.
Welcome to Baddies with Business. I'm your host, Malawan Hodge. This season, season 8, we are talking to a few of our incredible speakers that you can expect to see at the 2026 Baddies with Business retreat. Learn and grow as we talk about how being a baddie and business go hand in hand. Enjoy. Hey, baddies and friends. We are back with another episode, and I'm so excited for our guest today, who is bringing all of the tea and designs. You'll understand more once she introduces herself. So, Tami, can you tell our community a little bit more about yourself?
Yes, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. My name is Tami, like you mentioned. Some call me Tammy J, but a little background about myself to get to know me is that I have a podcast show. And so a lot of people know me through public speaking. And so if you've known me from high school, you probably saw me in theater or I was acting in plays and I was doing poetry. In college, I was competing with poetry slams. I was leading organizations. I had a radio show. And then now in my adult life, I have a podcast show. I love writing. I love just really public speaking. And that love for public speaking has really bled into different areas and skill sets. And so in my day job, I do a lot of public speaking because I somewhat teach. I'm an instructional designer. And so that kind of speaks to the design part of what you were mentioning before. But just that background of like public speaking, being in front of an audience and sharing a message with people, that really sums up like who I am. Like when people think of me, they think like, oh, she's on a stage or with a microphone in her hand saying something.
Yeah. And what is the catalyst for your excitement and joy and passion for being in front of folks, having a mic in your hand, on stage?
Yeah, I think it's like the energy in the room. You're
Mhm.
feeding off of the connections that you're building by either storytelling or teaching. And so when you tell a good story, you're captivating, you're engaging, and I feel like you're kind of borrowing the energy in the room. And so one of my very first performances in high school, I did a poem. There were people in the audience who were, snapping. They were saying like, "Mm-hmm," like that's that you go, girl. And that you're just feeding off of that. And I feel like that kind of snowballed in just wanting to further those connections of who my audience is. And so I feel like that keeps me going, but that was also the catalyst into the space that I'm in now.
Yes. Okay. Great segue. See, you can tell a podcaster, okay, because they're like, I'm already setting you up for you to go ahead and hook it in. So thank you for the setup. Now, thinking about Tea with Tammy now, tell us a little bit more about your podcast. If those who are listening have never heard of Tea with Tammy and they're like, I want to go listen, what can they expect in your episodes and seasons?
Yes, and so Tea with Tammy has been a roller coaster. It has existed since 2016. And so we're about to hit a 1 year anniversary, June 2026. Or I mean not a 1 year, a 10 year anniversary. And so it's been a ride. When it first started, it was kind of me satisfying some fans that I had from the radio days that I had. And so I had a radio show through my college days, KTSW 89.9, and it was called The Cipher. And we would talk about hip hop. We would have good hip hop debates and conversations, and people were like, we missed this. And so it started off very hip hop based. And then after a while, you kind of get bored with just talking about one thing, right? And so it is expanded into Black culture. And so I was like, okay, let's talk about Black entertainment. Let's talk about Black issues. 2020 was a very important year for talking about Black
Mhm.
issues. And so that was like a new stepping stone into a new space of topics on my podcast. And now that I've really honed into my day job and day work of being an instructional designer, I've wanted to fuse it all together. And I'm like, okay, how can I educate educate, teach the audience that I already have who loves Black culture, loves hip hop, and how can I help them just be better? And so it's little nuggets and education and how to's. And this new year, 2026, I've really wanted to revamp and not just be a social commenter and really take it a step further and say, okay, here are some steps or here's some action items. Here's some things that you can go out and do and try. And I want you to come back and report and share your experiences. And so really taking it a step further. But that's really kind of been the roller coaster ride of Tea with Tammy, where it's been hip hop, Black culture, and now I'm in this like, I want to educate my Black people.
Mhm.
I want to help my Black people.
Yes. So first, shout out to you preparing for 10 years in a couple of months. So that is very exciting. What a major milestone that a lot of businesses often don't hit. And so just to be able to celebrate that, I think that is major.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of the roller coaster and the various paths and journeys that you've taken with hip hop, Black culture, and now into this space of education. And I love that you are really thinking about it. Seems like while it has been a roller coaster and like this spiraling road, it is based off of what your listeners and what your heart is leading you to. And I'm
Yep.
sure that there will be some moments where you're going to bring in a little hip hop Black culture education
Yes, of
in your design.
course. Of course. You're gonna hear it in just how I deliver. And so I think that's what keeps people engaged as well of like, oh, okay, she knows a little something about that too. And so yeah, it keeps people engaged.
Yeah. So when you are thinking about the education piece, what has come to mind? Like what was now the catalyst for, okay, the education bag might be the move as I think about 2026? Like what sparked
Yes.
this excitement?
Right, right, because I used to keep my day job and my podcast so separate. It was like I go to Tea with Tammy at night. That was like the things that I do as a hobby outside of work. But now that I'm trying to infuse it all, the light bulb that went off is I'm getting my hair done from a new stylist that I've never gone to before, and I'm in her chair, first time getting like a little sew in, bust down middle part, feeling good for my birthday. And she, as we do as we're getting our hair did, we're just talking and venting, and she's
Mhm.
expressing to me how she wishes how more Black women knew or educated themselves on how to properly care for their hair, how to maintain their hair, how often they should be washing it, what type of protein or products you should be using. And it was like a light bulb that went off. I'm like, hey girl, like, you could really turn this into a class. And funny enough, she had already thought about it, but she didn't know what steps to take. And so she was like, "Yeah, I've always thought about like hosting a workshop or teaching the next people or the younger Black girls in my community, but I just don't know where to start. I'm not a teacher. I don't know how to really instruct. Like, of course, I could
Mhm.
tell people what to do as they're sitting in my chair, but as for a classroom setting,
Right.
how do I bring this to life?" And so we really got the that conversation going, the ball rolling, and it doesn't always have to be in a classroom setting, not to like to kind of alienate that experience. You can really just have a template. You can really have a job aid. You can really have a toolkit. It doesn't always have to be a classroom setting. But that was really the light bulb of like, you can take this skill, this talent that you're doing, and generate a new form of income and educate your community, and you can just improve the quality of Black women's care in our community. And so I just felt like, yes, I now figured it out how to combine it all together of my
Mhm.
day job and Tea with Tammy,
Yeah.
instructional design, and really bringing to life that energy of educating and public speaking.
Mhm. I love that story. One, because we got our braids now, and we spend hours and upon hours with our stylists and just sitting there and having these moments talking about all the things in life. And for this to be, I imagine that she may not have gone into your appointment realizing that she was going to walk out with something that was going to level up, evolve her business, and actually
Hmm.
allow her to unlock this new idea that she had been wrestling with. And so I think that I always feel like things happen for a reason and people are put in your life for a reason. And also
Right.
the mere fact that that was the first time you had seen her was like, okay, okay, I see what you're doing.
Yes, yes, yes. It's so beautiful to see things just fall into place and things just making sense as it's happening. And that was probably 2.5 years ago. And so now she has a subscription to where you can subscribe, and she'll educate you through
Mm,
emails and send out little toolkits. And I'm like, yes, this is how you educate. This is how you generate that side income to say, hey, you can subscribe for $1, whatever that dollar amount is for whoever's out there. But there's ways to really educate and benefit from it too on your side.
yes. Okay. So 2026, as you mentioned, is the year that you are adding the educational piece to Tea with Tammy and also adding the instructional design as a service as part of Tea with Tammy. So can you share a little bit more about what that service looks like?
Right.
How, if someone listening is interested in working with you, what might the steps be for them to go about, working with you under Tea with Tammy?
Yes. So I want my listeners with Tea with Tammy to feel inspired when they listen to an episode. I want them to feel like they can go out and do something. And so I want them to eh, reach out to me. I want to be a resource to others. And so a consultation, booking that with me, reaching out to me, and us discussing and identifying what skill, talent, or service that you have mastered and what you can now deliver and educate the next person on. And so as they're reaching out to me, I want them to figure out what that looks like for them in the best suited way of their lifestyle. Like, is that an email subscription base? Is that hosting a Saturday workshop in your community at the library or in your shop that you already have? What does that look like for you? Maybe you already have a resource or a medium or where you're reaching your audience through TikTok, Instagram Reels, and so we can just turn that into being more educational. And so I feel like just by reaching out and networking through the audience that I have and I'm building with Tea with Tammy, they can book those consultations. We can figure out what the template looks like, what the toolkit looks like, what the emails sound like, what does it all feel like, what are the takeaways, what are the new action items for your audience once you're delivering that service and that workshop. And so I want that to just kind of be built upon in real time with that
Mhm.
person, because it could look different if you work in you might be a personal trainer and you're just wanting to educate in that space. You can be a hairstylist, you can do nails, you might crochet blankets and you now want to educate how others can crochet smaller things in their homes, oven mitts and cup holders. And so I've seen people turn their talent and their service and their skill set into so many things, and I just
Yeah.
want to be that middleman, to that stepping stone, that cheerleader to help them
Mhm.
to get it off the ground.
Wonderful. I appreciate that you are taking the approach of meeting people where they are as opposed to forcing them to get to a certain place. What you have, what I've often seen in social media more recently, where it is like you have to be doing these 7 steps to get to this place. And it's like, no, you can take your own pace, do the things that you need. You don't have to put out, a course just because someone else is doing it. You could do a toolkit to what you mentioned. You could do a template. You could do a workshop. And if that leads you to doing something else, then have at it. But you don't have to do all of these things just because someone else is doing it. You can follow your heart.
Right.
And also, your confidence will build, your connections with your clients and customers. So I appreciate you taking the approach of meeting them where they are and just, holding their hand and guiding them along the journey.
Yeah, because they might teach me something along the way, because I'm a lifetime learner in the field that I work in. And so they might say, "Hey, I actually have a really large audience on Snapchat, and I feel like I can educate through Snapchat stories." And I'm like, "Hey, let's figure out how to do it that way." And so it can look so many different ways, and that's what keeps me excited about the work. Is
Mhm.
like, okay, how can we make this cool and different and match your style and your vibe and really reach your audience that you have.
Yes, yes. Okay, listeners and baddies that are out there, if you're like, okay, Tammy, I want to meet you. I want to connect with you. One, you can follow Tea with Tammy on social media. So I would love for you to share all the places that they can find you on social media and your
Yes.
website. And then the second, after Tammy shares that, is going to be at the retreat. And we can talk more about that. But first, can you just share where they can find you on social media and the internet?
Yeah, you can most definitely find me on Instagram and Threads. That I'm very active on there. I love social commentary. I'm always in the comment section of someone's Instagram post, trying to generate conversation or be the devil's advocate or, spark new ideas and perspectives. And so Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. And so searching Tea with Tammy on LinkedIn, you'll find me there. And so people really have reached out in their professional settings in on LinkedIn and said, "Hey, I really want to turn my service into a podcast." And so
Mhm.
I educate through that as well. And so if you're wanting to build a podcast, I can also consult you on that as well. But Instagram, Threads, LinkedIn, that's my bread and butter. That's where you can find me the most. I'm sure if you Google Tea with Tammy, you'll probably discover that I have a Twitter account, but we all know that Twitter X isn't really what's happening
It's
anymore. So
next.
I won't be as responsive there.
Wonderful. Well, Tammy, I will make sure to include all of that in the description of this episode so all of the listeners can head on over there. So, if you are coming to the retreat or you're on the fence about attending the retreat, let's get you off the fence and into Tammy's session. So,
Yes.
I am so excited that Tea with Tammy is going to be in the building at this year's retreat, which is happening a couple more months. You still have some time to get your ticket. Boo. Okay. So Tammy's session is going to be for our baddies who are in the track that is growing. So the growing track is for those who are in years 4 and 5. So you have been in the game a little bit and you are now at that point of like, okay, it's now time to take it up a notch. You may be offering new services, products, and things like that. And so that is the track that Tammy's going to be leading this incredible session. Your topic, from boss to baddie: transform expertise into income and impact. Okay, first, y'all, that title, y'all should be knocking the doors down. Okay, securing all the tickets so you can be in there. So,
Too funny.
Tammy, can you share with the listeners and especially the baddies who are thinking about attending or will be attending what they can expect from your session?
Right. And so with that first half of that title from boss to baddie, I really wanted to captivate that with my session living in a certain track where people have already kind of mastered their skill, are already comfortable with their business and what they offer and their talent, their skill set. I think that we already consider ourselves a boss, right?
Mhm.
We're a boss, we're in that mindset, we're in that mentality, and now it's time to really elevate and be that baddie, right? And really take it up a notch, a step further, and that's where that education piece comes in, where I feel like that will elevate you into that baddie. And I feel like what will captivate and will really keep people interested in my session is the fact that yes, you're educating, and yes, you're building your community, and you're sharing the wealth of knowledge and your skill set, but you're also generating another form of income. And let's be honest, times is hard. We another stream of income does not hurt. And if you're already just doing what you're doing and you can turn that into something, I think why not? And so that's where that second half of that title comes from, for that income and impact. For you're really teaching something. We want it to stick in our community, but we also want to generate that new form of income and really elevate ourselves as and be that true baddie.
Wonderful. So, baddies, if you are in that growing track, you're in year 4 or 5, know that you can expect to be in that incredible session with Tammy. It is going to blow you away. And then, Tammy, for those who may be outside of that track, what is
Yeah.
offering for them as well?
Yeah, it's something to look forward to. One thing I'm really big on is personality assessments. And so I took Clifton Strengths a strengths finder, and my first strength is futuristic. And so I'm always thinking ahead, what this can turn into. And so I feel like it's an inspiration, and it's really inspiring to sit in a session like this to see what your skills and your talent can really turn into, and how it can really impact the community in the future. I will say that even if you feel like you're not in the space to take your talents to that next level yet, you'll still get tons of gems. You'll really get good stories told by me and from your peers in the room, and you can really, just learn from your neighbor. And so I'm really big on just discussion based learning, and really kind of bringing in the knowledge in the room too. And so don't alienate yourself to think that, okay, you're new in your business, and that this session might not be for you, because you might still get some gems. And like I said, I still offer a consultation on if you're wanting to turn your skill set or your business into a platform, into a podcast.
Hmm.
And so there's still gems and ways that I can teach you, and to really take your business to the next level.
Yes. Wonderful. So baddies know that if you are sustaining, look, I was like, let me refresh my memory, or you are flourishing, there's still those opportunities for you to kind of tap in. So, Tammy, also would love to know, since this is your first time speaking with Baddies of Business, and this is also your first time attending the retreats,
Hmm.
what are you looking forward to?
Oh my gosh, the connections, networking, like just seeing like the past like footage of other retreats. I'm just like, that looks like a good time. Like that looks like good people, good vibes, good energy. And I've really been like intentional this past like year or two of like who I want to invite and keep in my space, and like what energy I want to attach myself to. And I feel like this brand and this environment, this group, this community will really just nurture that, and really benefit me in so many ways, of just like having new allies and people to bounce ideas off of, network with, work with, make money with. You never know, like you never know, you might find your future best friend in one of these types of retreats. And so I'm really excited to just build connections and network.
Yes. And we are so excited to have you, Tammy, because while we have a good time doing the workshops, we will have a great time at the party, hiking, all of those
I'm
things. So
ready.
if you haven't got your ticket, you can pause this episode right now and get your ticket, or you can
Please.
listen and also get your ticket as well. Okay, so I want to pivot a little bit. And on the podcast, we always like to pause to give people their flowers while they can still smell them. And
Yes.
so I would love for you to share the name of a baddie or a few in your life who
Yes.
have encouraged you and inspired you along your journey.
Yes, there's actually one person that comes to mind who I've been following closely on social media. I have not met her in person, but we've communicated just through social media. You know how you have that the social
Yes.
media girlfriend that you've never met, but
Hmm.
we're locked in somehow.
Right.
And her name and her business is called Body Love by Tall. And her name is Natalia King. And so she makes like homemade butters, soaps, oils, and she's really like catapulted like this past year, because recently Tabitha Brown mentioned her magnesium butter on her
Mm,
page, and that just took her to another level. And she's trying to keep up social media wise, and posting how the journey has been since her orders have like exploded in a positive way. And she has just been an inspiration to me to just like do more, and to never doubt yourself. And
yeah.
you never know what's coming. You never know what blessing is around the corner. And she's just a strong Black woman to follow. And so if
Yeah.
you are interested in body care items, skincare items, um, them being healthy for you, beneficial to you in your health, I would follow Body Love by Tall, Tal is Tall, Natalia King. And I believe she's based in Colorado. And so, if I'm not
Mm,
mistaken, our retreat will be taking place in Colorado. And so I'm going to try and communicate with her through social media, see if she can either come out maybe with some samples, or she can
yeah.
kind of just support the event in some way. But she is a beautiful Black woman that I'll always shout out.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully you are listening and we'll tag you. But yes, we would love to see you at the retreat, or pop into the bazaar. It would be incredible to have her. So I love that.
Yes.
So thinking
And
about
honorable
TV,
mentions would probably be my mom and Beyonce, but I,
okay,
you know, you know, you got to throw those in there.
throw them in there. Okay, we're gonna throw y'all
I
in
want
there.
my mom to be listening and be like,
Yes.
"Hey, girl, you know, you
Mhm.
should have mentioned me."
What about me? Okay,
Yeah, right.
Mama, we shouting you out. Okay, Mama, here's your flowers. Also, Beyonce, you
Of
might be
course.
listening. Okay, maybe Blue Ivy put you on. Okay, thank you,
Okay.
thank you, Blue, thank you.
Yes.
So I know that you are preparing for 10 years. And so, as you think about the next 2 to 3 years, where do you aspire for Tea with Tammy to be? And how can the community of baddies and friends help you starting from the day they listen to this episode?
Yes, and so I want to do a lot more of what we're already doing with this retreat, right? And so I would love to kind of make this my new day job. And so
Yeah,
2 3 years from now, having more speaking engagements and workshops to really build the community that I'm in and help get people where they're wanting to go. And so I do this for a specific company, but I would love to do it on a broader scale for, you know, our black women, our black business owners, and just people of color across the board. And so that's where I see myself really on a larger stage, you know, preaching and teaching the same lessons that I'll be teaching in our session this June. And so I really just want to take what I'm doing now and put it on a larger platform and really go on tour with it, you
right.
know?
Yes, I love that. Taken across the world. So, baddies and friends, if you are listening, one, you need to book that consultation with Tammy because we want this to happen in less than 2 to 3 years. Okay. We want to be at this point in 2027. And Tammy's like, Malaron, let me tell you, girl. Okay. We made it happen. Okay. So let's go ahead and help Tammy with moving that along and being able to do that full time because what you're offering is a blessing. And I know that as entrepreneurs, we often get set with, I have to do this particular thing. I don't have the expertise, as you mentioned earlier with your stylist. But here, Tammy is saying, I have this expertise. I want to work with you to help you level up your business and explore new options for
Let me
working with your
help
business
you.
clients. Okay. She's right
Let me
here.
love you. I feel like Mario. Like, just let
Yeah.
me love you.
I love that. And so, Tammy, we are coming to the close of our episode. This has been incredible getting to know you, your background, all of your passions and your gifts that you are
Thank you.
bringing to the world, and also bring it to Baddies with Business.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
really excited to now have you in the Baddie fam forever. Okay,
Yes.
forever, as Cardi B said. So, in
Yes.
closing out your episode, we love to do a baddie benediction, like a good Southern Baptist.
Yes.
So, this benediction, you can take it whatever direction you want to go in. If you want to do a poem, a quote, a prayer, a song, if you want to throw out a piece, I know you're got a theater background, whatever you would like to do. But this is your chance to close out your episode with your baddie benediction.
Yes, I appreciate the floor to do that. I would say a quote that I live by, and it's a little ratchet. And you know, you got to sprinkle a little bit of ratchet in your life just to keep you humble, keep you
Mhm.
balanced, right? And so it's a famous quote from a great film, spoken by the character Diamond in the Players Club. Make that money, don't let it make you.
Mm,
Okay. And so, as you're a baddie in your business and you're evolving and you're reaching new heights and you're reaching new goals, like to still keep yourself grounded, still be humble along the way, you know, teach these skills and talents to the next person. Um, I hate when people feel like, since I had to work hard, I want you to work just as hard or suffer. And so I want things to be easier for the next generation and easier for the younger girls that are looking up to us. And so don't let the money get to your head, or you know, the fame and the success make your head big and
mhm,
have you neglecting where you came from and the community that's around you and that probably helped you get where you are.
mhm.
So, you know, make that money. I'm all for it, but don't let it make you in the negative and the evil ways that it can be. And so That's just a saying that I like to keep with me to keep myself grounded, humble, and hopefully, even though it's from a ratchet source, you use it for good and for positive.
Yes. Thank you for listening to another episode of Baddies with Business. It's been great to have you. I hope you've learned something and gained some new insight. Check out the show notes to find out more information about the featured baddie. Go give them a follow and continue to support Baddies with Business by visiting www.baddieswithbusiness.com. Also, you can follow Baddies with Business on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Baddies with Business. We look forward to hearing from you soon. If you want some behind the scenes and to check out the clips, consider being a Patreon. Information in the show notes. Thank you, and continue to be bad, be bold, and be a baddie.